me and Roller, Chris, my partner, he kind of had always like done them like shadily because he's just a funny guy like that. So like really, he's the first guy who ever did a Milktube with Chris Roller. Like he would just do them, and then like I did it the one night, and I'm like, let's call this a Milktube and let's charge $2 on Tuesday. Everyone's like, okay. We try and be a little bit traditional.
You guys have like this balance of traditional.
That's human robot.
Yeah.
It's all about balance. That's it. Like we're very serious about the beer, but like, you know, what's really the difference between this and a Lico pour? Like it's just the glass.
It's
like
not like you're like disgracing God or something.
Yeah, I mean we're talking about chugging fucking foam.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Podcast. I'm your host, Richie Tevlin, joined by Evan Blum, and today we have on Human Robot, Jake Atkinson. I guess Brewery itself doesn't need much explanation, but kind of get into who you are, kind of your history of beer in Philadelphia, and kind of talk all things Human Robot.
Yeah, right. My history of beer in Philadelphia, I basically just lurked around the scenes for...
I mean, you know everybody, but like it was not that you were actually in the scene. You just kind of were around.
I was a weed guy, and you know, brewers and beer people like weed a lot.
Yeah, like the main weed people in the city, like you can are somehow now the main beer guys.
Exactly.
Like what?
So it was basically I was always into beer, but I had the weed, and like these guys had the beer, so it was a good match. So I was always around the scene. You know, I just had friends from years ago in the Philly beer scene, and I just lurked. You know, I went to every event. I went to all the Philly Beer Week meetings. I wasn't on the board. I would just sit there and like be high and just listen.
Was it because you were just friends with these people, or like was the plan to open up a brewery eventually?
It was never a plan, but it was always just to learn more, meet more people, just insert myself in the scene. And the scene was really big then. I mean, we had a magazine. I don't know if you guys remember.
Yeah, I remember that. That was who was it? The guy
Matt Falco at Herman's Coffee.
Yeah,
so we had a magazine called Philly Beer Scene, and it was a monthly publication, and like it was fucking awesome. There was an award show every year, the Philly Beer Scene Awards.
Philly Beer Week was like legit back then.
Yo, Philly Beer Week was a thing, man. Like I remember I'd have to tell my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, like, I don't exist this week. I do not exist. Like, don't even.
It's not.
And like now it's like, I don't even like. I think Beer Week's right after Log Jam, and
yeah,
you know what I mean? It's just
events
like,
are just like these like.
It's just tough because the entire beer scene has shifted, and like I've seen it all happen. You know, we've seen it happen, go from mostly regional to now this hyper local situation. Now that people have learned how to make better beer, so it just took a while.
Yeah, but I guess so. This was, I mean, for the past like what 15, 20 years you've been doing this, 15 years, and then really. Human Robot, Futurist. I mean, that's how I know you, the Futurist. But like, really, it started to become a thing that you wanted to do 5-6 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, it was always. Yeah, I'd say like it was always talks between like me and Alex and me and Kenny, and many different things were happening. Me and Alex started the Futurist because Alex was running Brew and Tradesman and had just volume.
The whole hospitality knew everybody that was selling.
You could just sell all the kegs ever. So we were contract brewing. You brewed our beer, famously. But we brewed.
Way back when.
Yeah, but we brewed a 30-barrel batch on March 12th, 2020, and then everything shut down on the 14th, and I had 60 amp kegs of beer and nowhere to sell it at all. So that's when Futurist died, and at that point, Human Robot was only 6 weeks old, so we had to shut down after only being open 6 weeks.
So those kind of overlapped a little bit.
Yeah, and they were two separate companies.
Yeah.
And me and Alex, we were gonna do things, but
it was very much like that was just like kind of a brand that you were doing, and Human Robot was like a more built out operation.
Yeah, I mean, yes, exactly. Originally me and Kenny were gonna build a brewery. We still have a building in Kensington, actually. But it just, when you can save a very substantial amount of money not building a brewery.
Just move into somebody else's deal and just get rolling.
It's a very I don't even know how new breweries do it. God bless them.
It doesn't make any sense. I mean, like in my mind, you know, the top 2 breweries in the city, not volume wise, but like what people consider the best breweries are Yuga and Carbon Copy at this point. And I mean, you guys don't have the same model, but you guys both moved into somebody else's spot. And it makes sense. It's like you're not spending all this resources, all this time building out a space. You're just focusing on brewing the beer and like building out your brand, building out the business.
And I get some people aren't as lucky and they don't have that opportunity, but I mean, Kyle, one of the owners of Carbon Copy, was bartending for us as he was doing all of this searching, and I was very clear with him, like, if you don't have to go $1 million in debt, don't do it. You know, so I was like, be patient.
The perfect little brew house that like you're designing, like the brew house that you have at this other location would probably make, like, if you know how to make beer, you know how to make beer.
Well, and that's the key with Andrew too. Like, he built this brew house, so getting him, that was the key. You know, that was the key to everything, really.
So Andrew you guys brought him in day one. He was kind of your brewer.
Andrew, we were supposed to have we had another guy lined up, and then he got a little scared, and I get that he was working a very good job, that he didn't want to leave, and I totally get that.
Yeah.
And so we were actually interviewing another brewer who was Andrew's assistant at St. Benjamin's. So I brought Andrew out to the Kyber to just like interview him about this potential guy, and he's like, wait, what's going on? I'm like, really? I was told I couldn't afford you. He's like, how much? And we figured it out, and it's working out fine for both of us. So that's really good. And again, like, it's just, you know, there's a lot of serendipitous things that just kind of happened.
I mean, at that point, like I don't know how to put this. It's like at some point when you guys opened, like I knew that you guys were gonna be good. I knew you, I knew Ken, I knew Andrew. Was like I didn't know him personally.
I mean, between me and Ken and Andrew, there's 40 years of experience in the industry.
And Andrew clearly knows what he's doing, but like you never know like how someone's gonna do. But I think at some point something clicked, and I don't know if it was like when the milk tubes popped or something else, but something clicked where like you guys went from like to a whole nother stratosphere up to like the national scene.
You know, it's a whole combination of thing. I mean, obviously the liquid.
Yeah.
Then there's the marketing, and then there's like Kenny in the streets.
And the networking. It's like you guys.
That's Kenny in the streets. Like he's friends with every fucking brewery in the goddamn world at this point.
And you guys have great marketing, but it's like the networking and like who you guys know your friends in the industry is like more than anyone I've ever seen. It's like especially
because Kenny he goes like he knows Jean Van Roy from Cantillon. And he knows all the cool new school guys, which so he can bridge these gaps.
In Philly is not normal.
No, like, you're either old school or new school. Yeah. Kenny's the only one that's both. Like, you're either Tom Peters or you're, you know, somebody who's like ultra new, you know?
Like Tripping Animals. Like, they are very cool, but they're very much like a very new brewery.
Yeah, absolutely. This beer is actually underrated. They do really good
Tripping
beer.
Animals? Yeah, they do. No,
dude, their lager's actually like good. No, like, it's crazy.
Yes, I love them. But yeah, it's like you guys kind of hit this hot streak of like everything was kind of going right.
I mean, again, it was.
Was it like that from the beginning? I mean, like you guys are obviously doing great now, but like, was there? I mean, you guys.
We know,
it
like,
was 2020.
At the beginning, we were just gonna be like a haze factory. You think we fucking knew lager was gonna be like this thing? And Andrew was like, "Hey, you know, I want to do my Hallertau pills because he's been working on that recipe since the beginning of St. Benjamin's."
Yeah.
And then the other beer that he was like, I want to do Czech 10, and he's like, this one's gonna be really tough. He's like, I want to make this Polo Tamavi 12. He's like, it'll probably take like 6 months to kick a batch of it. I'm like, all right, dude, whatever. As long as there's like a bunch of haze on tap, you know what I mean? I probably haven't drank a hazy IPA in 3 years.
Wow.
Because like I started having this lager, I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? You know? This is amazing. Where has this been all my life? But it's not really that easy, as you can see. I mean, I've been drinking beer, but like I never knew that lager could taste like that. Mm-hmm. So it's just been really cool. And then like we kind of just, you know, we had an idea of how we were going to do things. So being able to apply it to lager to make lager cooler, you know, really, I don't know.
I mean, I don't know what, like, I think lager, whether you guys were here or not, lager was going to kind of take over, but you guys kind of kickstarted it in Philadelphia at least.
We helped a little, I guess. I mean, it's, you know, obviously it's everywhere, but yeah, I mean, we've been pushing it hard, you know, with log jamming, obviously, and just, you know, our love of it.
The whole decoction thing too. I mean, it's like, you talk about like marketing, but it's like, you guys, I was talking to him about this earlier, like you guys are pushing like decoction, but it's like, there's a lot of people coming out like that are just saying decoction just to say
Of
it.
course.
But you guys are like just did that, and like it kind of became this thing where
Yeah.
now it's like people are designing their brew houses to be decoction brew houses, and it's like
And they don't even actually know what
they
they're
don't.
doing.
They have no idea. They've never decocted a beer in their whole
No.
lives, but they're spending all this money to make it. You
This
know,
is
be
an
able to do that.
yo,
just to
it'll be
say
good
it,
because
like-
then I'll move into that place when it fails.
Exactly. Exactly.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. So this is. So that was what you guys opened up. This is March 2020.
We opened February 6th, 2020. We closed March 14th, 2020.
How long were you guys closed for then?
I don't remember. I think it was, fully nobody in. I mean, over a year maybe? I mean, we went right to a window, though. Within a week.
Yeah.
I
Was that
put an
window-
online
Was
store.
that window already there?
It was a window. We turned it into like a side slider window.
Yeah.
We took a part out of the bar so you could walk through. We had an online store. This all happened
Were
within
you even
days.
canning at that point, or was it just
No, it was
crowlers?
crowlers, and we were mobile canning.
Crowlers with hazy IPAs.
Oh, dude.
Come a long way.
Oh.
And like splash.
I mean, how tough was it to make your name like from there at that point?
People were drinking a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and, it kind of allowed us to figure out who we were without constant people in there.
Mm-hmm.
And so we really were able to just figure out who we wanted to be and build ourselves.
Build your identity.
Yeah, like at our own measured pace.
Yeah.
We had to buy the canning line faster than we would have liked.
But maybe that forced the subject. I mean, the canning line has
dude.
allowed you to do
Oh
all
my
these different
God.
things.
I mean, we mobile canned twice.
With Ironheart?
Yeah. And the first time was a disaster. And it wasn't their fault, I think. I mean, I know exactly what happened. They hooked it up to the tank, and it went backwards once and just stirred the whole tank up. And we were like, oh, shit.
We're
like,
the whole podcast. Though.
yeah, right? And we were like, that's it. You know what I mean? So it was
Long day.
it was a long day, and it just
Not many
sucked, like,
beers.
not being able to, like, just can when the beer's ready. So, yeah, we got the canning line right away.
And that's what, a Twin Monkey?
Yeah, it's a Yampa. We just about hit 1 million yams through it.
Nice. Was that a celebration? Was it like
We'll see.
McDonald's? Was it get through? Just a
Yeah,
golden can?
No, we're just going to keep canning.
So that was, you guys started off hazy IPAs, and then the splash.
It was always a
a mix
blend.
of both. But
Splash is from Chris, our third partner.
and he was from Imprint.
He worked at
which is
Imprint.
like, they are.
Smoothie was like,
That's
yeah,
the thing.
that was the. Then they do fine beer too, but the smoothies were really they were
Yeah.
like crushing it
Yeah.
with. And Chris brought us a great consumer viewpoint, because like Chris was like a tired hands chairline guy.
He's
like,
the only partner that I don't really know. Like I've
okay.
heard of him, but like I've never.
I
met him
didn't
before.
really know him either. We had another partner that didn't work out. Chris was a regular at Memphis Tavern. Kenny was like, he's trying to open a brewery. We had him in. I was like, you're awesome. You got cash? He's like, yup. I'm like, let's do it. And it's been great. And he worked at Brewery R's. He worked at Imprint. He went to Siebel Institute or whatever, got some certification. But he gave us a whole different viewpoint, because me and Kenny and Andrew were always industry people, whereas Roller's straight consumer. He was a bank manager before this, but he was part of the hype and was like, would be in the Tired Hands chairlines for milkshake IPAs and be at these events. So he gave us that viewpoint, because we would
You're not those people, but you need to be aware of that.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, we wouldn't have like done like Splash or a lot of things. We'd be like,
Yeah.
come on, man, like, nah.
You just don't even think about it. Like that's below me. That's like.
But it's not like, and
Yeah.
people love it, and it's great to have an option for people. You know what I mean? Like, not everyone really likes beer, so here's beer that's kind of different that anyone can kind of enjoy.
fruit shake.
Yeah, I'm like, whatever, people like it, and so we will continue to do it, and it's a good option to have.
So that was. See, he came on what early on.
Yeah,
You guys were doing the splash pretty.
right away. Yeah, he was a partner before we opened. He's been there since the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Splash was happening. Yeah, right away.
And then Pose came on right. That was Pose part of the opening.
Yep. Yeah, we only knew we didn't want to run a restaurant.
Another smart move. It's like
It's
Don't
again
wanna
like
open up
that's what
breweries, like-
years of being in the industry teaches you. Running a restaurant
Oh,
absolutely
you don't have to do all these things.
sucks. Like, yeah, I don't want to hear about the dishwasher calling out in the middle of the night. Like, I can't deal with that.
And then from their perspective, like they don't want to run a bar.
No, absolutely not.
Perfect partnership.
Yeah, so I had only known Poe because like the paper just would write about him all the time.
Yeah.
This weed man, and he had a sandwich shop right near where I lived, and it closed. And I actually knew his landlord. I called the landlord. I said, "What happened?" "Oh, Rich." He's like, "I love him, but he's a fuck up, man." So I was like, "Ah," and I hit him. I cold DM'd him on Instagram, like, "Yo, I'm opening this brewery." And we met like that day, and he was like, "Who are you? You have 200 Instagram followers. I don't even know why I'm fucking here." Blah, 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 blah. And it just kind of worked out because he had his own following and he had his own, media machine. So he's been a big part of our success too.
Yeah.
And that was huge during the pandemic as well because he could, pivot right to delivery. Like that's what he was. He was a delivery.
Yeah.
That's how they made. So it was not an issue for him. So that was another just a great thing, and that's why like two locals, they did the same thing.
Yep.
And they're like, yeah, like we saw what you did. We're like, that's what we need to
Like
do.
another sandwich shop essentially. It was like basically the same thing.
Yeah, it's Liberty Kitchen.
Yeah.
It's great. We're gonna work out great for both of them.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, we had Meredith on too, and it's just like I feel like I keep giving you comments. But it's like everything you guys are doing. It's like the festivals is like everything that you guys have been putting on have always been hits. And like was Log Jamming. I don't think I went to Log Jam in year one, but like was that always that successful? I went to this year. And I was like, that was like the coolest beer fest I've ever been to.
No, Log Jam 1 was in a parking lot of a catering company.
On North American Street.
Yeah, at Newman's.
Yeah.
You know that spot?
Yeah.
It was kind of thrown together. It was in like the height of COVID. It was 105 degrees a day we had it.
I actually did go there.
Miserable.
I did go there.
Did you? You remember
Now that we're
it?
talking about this, yes.
It was very different. It was very different.
But that was 4 years ago. Yeah. And the lager hype train, the human robot hype train is like full force now.
Yeah.
Like, what was the energy like then? Like, was the lager fest, like, you guys were still having to tell people, like, this is a lager fest because we are pushing lagers? Was the hype
Oh, I
already
mean, because
there?
like people still like even showed up with IPA.
Yeah.
And I was like, you can't have that.
You
here.
don't understand how
Yeah,
this works.
like you can't have that here. But it was a really weird time in the industry too, because it was probably 2 weeks after like the whole Rat Magnet thing.
Yeah.
And Brienne came. She was there
So
too.
you guys,
Wow.
you're friends with her? You guys
Yeah,
friends with her
well,
before
yeah,
that?
we met. I mean, her husband, Mike Fava,
Oh,
is
yeah, I know his whole
OG
story.
Philly
Yeah,
beer
yeah.
guy. He was a brewer at Nottinghead,
Yeah,
and
he knew,
I've known him
what's his
forever.
name? Who's the consultant that always like builds out the brew houses? He
Scott
worked with
Morrison,
Andrew,
the
Did
dude?
he work with Andrew also?
Scott Morrison, the
Yeah.
dude. Yeah, yeah. Andrew worked with him. Yeah, Scott's a ledge. This is last week. It was awesome. What was that?
The Log Jamming. You guys.
Oh yeah, so
Rat
Brienne
Magnet.
and Fava. Yeah. So, and Brienne at that point she was the brewing at Notch still.
Yeah.
And it was a big deal to like have her come down because I mean it was like crazy, you know what I mean? There was a lot going on, but it was cool. It was very cool, and that was good. And now we've tried to grow it, and now we're really trying to just focus on the Michael J. Jackson Foundation, getting them the most money, getting them the most exposure we possibly can, and let's do that, And like our connections, like it's been cool, like getting like these great lager makers that like you've never had, like getting Cohesion in from Denver, having Bierstadt in from Denver. We've got some cool ones lined up. I think lesser known beer companies coming in. I don't know if you've seen these guys. I don't like North Carolina. They do.
Wait, they're called lesser known?
Uh-huh.
Oh, I thought you were telling me.
Same.
It's literally their
it's a
name.
lesser-
And they do like true tank fours. Like you go to a window to order a beer and they have a Luker literally
On the
on the tank. And they pour it up the tank and give it to you.
God bless the
It's
cellar
pretty
people that
great.
Clean those tanks. But
Yeah, right? They're probably doing bags there, actually.
Gotcha.
Um,
But yeah, so that was year one, and then what? The milk tubes came immediately after that.
Milk tubes, actually, yeah, because we were with Brienne, and she was doing Lico pours in a 0.5 liter mug, and I was like, I can't do this. And then
I mean, the no foam guy, like the no gas guy.
yeah, right,
Too much foam.
right. And then the next, she left on Sunday, and then that Monday night, me and Roller, Chris, my partner, he kind of had always like done them like shadily, because he's just a funny guy like that. So like really, he's the first guy who ever did a Milktube with Chris Roller. Like he would just do them, and then like I did it the one night, and I'm like, let's call this a Milktube and let's charge $2 on Tuesday. Everyone's like, yeah, okay, dude. And then it like became a thing, and it's been fun. And I had an idea. It was because I trademarked it the day after we posted it.
I mean, it is very catchy. It's
Yeah,
very
it's a great
the thing.
Instagrammable thing. Everyone rips a tube. You know, it's like it's great. It's a great tool for the bartenders, because I'm like, you don't have to give away beer. You can give away all the Milktube you want. Like it's this much.
And as an owner, like, you don't have to worry about like over pours with that. It's like the entire
It's
thing is
this
just like a
much
foam. Yeah, it's
So-
great. So the Lucre taps, that was day one you guys had those? I mean, that was like another thing that you guys...
No, we had to source those, and that was again Mike Fava
Okay.
hooked us up with that, because then you couldn't just like order it. And
Is there now a Lucre tap guy like on the East Coast that just like...
no,
making a ton of
Luger
money?
actually set up like a site that you can just order
Okay.
from direct. That didn't exist. There was like one, I think it was Modern Draft in Boston, was like importing them. So Faba hooked me up with the Modern Draft guy, and then we were the first people in Philly with a Luger tap. Stick City was the first people in Pennsylvania with a Luger tap out in Pittsburgh. Great beer also. They come to Log Jam, and very underrated brewery. But they've been great. Now we have a Luger tower at 3 locations with 3 taps on each tower.
And what's typically on that? I mean, it's...
Only Czech beer.
Okay,
Only Czech beer. So it's Czech 10, Polo Tamale 12, Tamale 30.
cool.
You know, we try and be a little bit, traditional and pour Czech beer on the Czech.
I was telling Evan this because he was calling you, not that he was calling you a beer snob, but he's like, he feels like that, like, this
No.
last series was almost like, and the Milktubes was almost like beneath Human Robots. He thought it was very traditional. I was like, I think that it's
was-
like you guys have like this balance of traditional.
That's Human
and-
Robot.
Yeah.
It's all
No.
about balance. That's
No,
it.
It is interesting, and it's like the Milktube is one of the coolest items in the city. It's fun, and it's a great marketing tool, and it's really good for
And it's cool
somebody
that it's
that's
gone
not.
beyond Philadelphia. You know?
Absolute.
Like it started here, but it's like the other places, and like people are taking pictures. It's
I
catching
know,
on
and
other
because I
places.
have the trademark, my lawyer's always like, "You ought to defend this trademark and C&D these people." I'm like, "I'm not
Yeah.
doing that. Like, that's not what we're about." You know what I mean?
You gotta wait till it gets higher.
Yeah.
Wait till the money's good.
But no, it would seem like there's some breweries that a Milktube would be pretty much beneath almost. And it's
almost
it's
like
interesting.
Consciousness. It's like people that aren't as experienced in beer, like they look down upon other people because they're doing stuff that's less experienced. But like you guys have so much experience. You've
I
seen,
love
like,
him, but Chris
the
from
new stuff-
Notch, he will not let anyone do a milk tube.
Exactly.
I've seen him do one.
But like you guys are able to kind of like understand, like we can keep with traditions, but we can also do this fun, weird
Absolutely.
stuff.
Like, we're very serious about the beer, but like, what's really the difference between this and a Lico pour? Like, it's just the glass.
It's
like,
not like you're like
there's
disgracing
literally-
God or something.
Yeah,
It's
I
not
mean,
like
we're
a
talking
religion.
about chugging fucking foam
Yeah,
here.
exactly.
You know? So like, it's not like, it doesn't have to be that serious.
So with the milk tubes, that now only comes in. Can you order it in like what's the other?
You can get a
country we
Lico pour.
have? Okay.
Yup, you can get a Schnitt. You can get a
What's a
Lico.
Schnitt?
Schnitt is like,
A little tiny one.
it's like half beer, half foam with like maybe 2 fingers of nothing. So it's like a half pour with a big head.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's like just like a good half beer kind of. It's like what I'd basically drink every time I pour a Czech town.
Yeah.
Schnitt, because I don't need a whole site.
Yeah, and that's strong head on it.
Yeah, right.
What's your favorite of the Czech styles?
I literally just go down. I just go 10, 12, 13. Like, I don't. I love them all. Like, I mean, 10 is like I guess that's my deserted island, desert island. I don't know. Where, are you guys? Where do you fall on that? Desert island or deserted island?
Desert. Probably
Desert?
desert island.
Wait.
I haven't thought about it much, but yeah.
Have you thought about this before? People say like you're stranded on a desert
I
island.
understand what you're saying, but I've never heard of deserted island.
You never heard of deserted island? What the fuck is desert island?
Desert island, but
Does
like
that make any sense?
No, it doesn't make any sense. It should be deserted.
Exactly.
But I've never heard anyone before you just said that.
All right. Well, I just wanted to point that out. If you learn anything from this podcast, let it be that.
Yeah, I'm trying. Like a desert island. I don't even. It's too much thinking.
You looked lost for a good 30 seconds there.
Yeah.
But Check 10 is what I mean. I just love it. It's just full flavor, 4.2%. It's just, I just love it. Can I grab a Ritual Herbs? Can I just?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Weird display. You sure?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It'll be all right.
What do you want?
I want this one. No, the other one. So this is aged lager. Can you talk about the aged lager? I mean, this is the aged lager now like a new thing that you guys have? You guys always done that? Like
So it started out with do you know fermentary form? You know Ethan?
Yeah.
So we make his wort.
Yeah. And they obviously use it because they're doing saisons. And
They use it for lambic and stuff, or whatever you want to call it. So he has a ton of aged hops. So I guess we did a collab. I can't remember if it was our first anniversary beer was like a collab with them, or we did it before. But we used his aged hops, and they're like 7 years old. They're open, they're cheesy. It's like he gets them from like Bud for like $1, because they're like, who wants like 6-year-old like I don't even know what like I think it's just like Hallertau, like it might be Middle Fruit, like but they're like it's so old, like sure, here you go, lambic guy.
Shipping on it.
So we really just had a lot of fun with it because you kind of get these lambic notes almost like of this like cheesy agedness, but then it's just like this great biscuity light lager, and I mean that's 3.8%, and it is chock full of flavor.
It's like the hops have like this weird flavor, but because the beer doesn't have any off flavor,
exactly,
you can just focus on like the weird flavor of the hops,
which is really cool.
Yeah.
And I think I don't know many other people who were doing aged hop lager. I think maybe when we did that, I don't know.
I mean, I have always been impressed about your ability to sell the milk tubes, and it's like the margins on the milk tubes are so high, and if you can somehow make aged hops cool, you're gonna be so rich.
Trust me, ain't nobody getting rich in the beer. God, even the unit, Treehouse, they rich. They rich.
Yeah,
real rich.
Well, yeah,
But golf course, bro. Goals, man. I always thought the goals was to buy a farm. Like, you see, like, the hype breweries, like, we got a farm, you know what I mean? I'm like, damn, they made it, you know?
They're doing stuff that, like, rich people can't do.
Yo, they bought a golf course, bro. Like, come on. Like, it's crazy. But, like, I've been there, and I've done the math. And they're doing, like, 250,000 retail, like, a day.
I mean, I see, like, my friends and people that I'm buying go there and buy, like, 10 cases.
Yeah. For, like, 2 G's.
Exactly. Yeah, it's insane.
And every other asshole's doing that.
It's insane. Yeah.
It's nuts. Yeah, they're making big bucks.
Yeah, they're like, I thought, I was not aware of them, and I, like, other half, I was like, wow, they are crushing it. And, like, they take the other half model to, like, a whole nother level.
No, yeah, and, I'd been going to Treehouse. That was one of the things, like, I did do, like, roller. I did Fanboy, and, like, I did the lines. I've been going to Treehouse since they were in, like, this little thing in Monson, and it was, like, growlers only.
Yeah.
They didn't even have cans, and maybe you can buy, like, 2 cans at a time. It's crazy, dude. But it's banging. But I was like, that's the model. Direct to consumer. That's the model. And it's tough to pull off, but, like, if you can do it, that's the model.
I mean, it's there.
Distribution is just...
I mean, the margins are so much higher. You have total control over your product. The demand is so much higher because it's like, as much as, like, from a producer standpoint, it feels like, like, we're not taking advantage, but, like, this is best for us. It's, for beer, it's, like, an experience thing also. Like, the customer wants to go there and get this exclusive thing and wants to feel like they're waiting in line.
Yeah.
To be a part of this
great
thing.
that, like,
everybody
you
wins.
can only get like this at Human Robot or very few select restaurants. We do distribute a little bit. It's the restaurants that I can't get reservations to.
Yeah.
So we distribute to Zahab, Vetri, Fiorello, so I can call them and get reservations.
Back to your wins.
You know, it makes it just so cool. Like that's what makes the experience so cool about
Yes,
these
and
places.
but it's very, you know, people were like, what do you mean you're not going to sell beer to bars? Like they think that's insane.
Yeah.
But going back, I was in beer sales for like a year and a half. Like I worked with Aurelio, I worked with a distributor and sold beer in the market. So I did that and I had a lot of people tell me no. It was a real pain in the ass selling beer. So it's really fun.
Pain in the ass,
really
and
fun.
It's like you're selling kegs for like a tenth of the price that you can sell it over the bar.
It's insane. Like
And
I was
you're having
selling
to haul it
kegs. I
out
was working for
there.
Coppertail, selling kegs for like $140 and are coming from Florida, getting stomped on by a distributor. Like Coppertail's probably making like $1 on it.
Yeah.
And then they got to pay my ass. So like it's just insane. And I'm like, I don't even know how any of this like adds up. Like to pay me this amount of money, I got to sell like $1 million worth of beer a year. I'm like that ain't happening. So it's nice to be able to say no to people when they want to. Or I've got the upper hand.
Tables and chairs.
Download the Let's Rally app to find fun, random things to do in and around Philly. Let's Rally plans your day or night for you. Just tell the app how many people you have in your party and how far you're willing to go. You can also add filters like bars, experiences, and food, and the app will create a plan for you instantly. Unthink today and download Let's Rally.
You worked at Coppertail. I've had their beer before. I like it a lot, but it's like the Tampa beer scene is kind of the whole Florida beer scene is kind of underrated. I feel like.
Yeah, absolutely. It's coming around. Casey, he was kind of like my mentor, if you will. He was my first, he was the head brewer of Flying Fish back when I first got into the beer scene.
Yeah.
And he was a really
Flying
good
Fish
friend of
not
mine.
Fish was not out of business.
Yeah, right. So, and that was a really cool thing. And then he left there 10 years ago to open Coppertail, which he's not at anymore. And when they opened, I did sales for them up here, which they also don't do anymore. It was a really good learning experience. But yeah, there's a lot of good breweries down there. I mean, we go down for Tampa Beer Week because we still have so many connections down there. And we love it. Farry House is a great lager producer down there. Love those guys. And just awesome people. Chris over at Green Bench, obviously crushing great beers down there. We're doing a dark beer festival. We're sending that down to Angry Chair. They're part of the pastry stout, Illuminati.
Yeah.
I'll never forget. I was there. I did a fantasy baseball or football draft, their opening week there with Casey, and had their German chocolate stout. It's the sweetest, most ridiculous thing I've ever had in my life. You're never going to sell this, and they blew the fuck up from it.
It's like people. There's like this group of people. I mean, it sounds weird to say group of people. There's this online force that just the pastry stouts, the smoothie
It's
sours.
just the scarcity. It's just sneakerheads and card collectors, and it's oh, I can't get it. I need it.
Yeah.
I need it. I need it.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
like adult Pokemon cards.
yeah, I'm good friends with Alex at Troon, and I'm never change your model. Always just sell 200 crowds. There's no reason to ever do anything else.
It works.
Ever.
It's the
Why bother?
wine industry has been doing it for 60, 70 years, where it's just it goes from the more exclusive, the smaller it is. You're selling a brand. At the end of the day,
Exactly.
as long as the product is fine, you're selling the brand, you're selling the idea, the experience to the customer.
Exactly. So, yeah, it's great.
So now you guys have 4 locations. So everything was kicking off. Then you guys were doing production just in Kensington.
Just in Kensington, and then during COVID, the Chamonix Creek wanted to get out of the Jenkintown location.
What's the size of the production space?
So
Both of them. It's 7 barrels each one.
No, well, it's 10 hectoliters at
In
in Kensington, which is 8.5 barrels, call it. But we have all 20 and 30.
So you can double batch.
Yeah, and triple. We just got 2 more 30s actually. They were doing glycol drops
Nice.
today on those. And then Jenkintown is a 7-barrel, but it's all 15s.
Okay.
But we upgraded. It was when we bought it, it was all 7s. So we upgraded everything.
And your production team is what? Andrew, Dylan, and like
Andrew,
2 other guys?
Dylan, Caleb,
Yeah.
and then we just hired Jarrett, who was the lead brewer at Tired Hands like last year. So not a bad guy to have as your fourth guy.
It used to be like 6 years ago. It was like when I first started Victory, like the people were like, "Oh, this person." At every single brewery, there's like somebody from Victory. Now it's like because Tired Hands is like what it is now. It's like there's somebody from Tired Hands at every single like big brewery now.
But they were all at Iron Hill before too.
Yeah.
Which Jared was. I've known Jared for, also 15 years because I met him when he was assistant for my buddy Paul Rutherford, who also went to Tampa Zydeco Brew Works. He's an OG guy. But yeah, it's good to have people that I've known forever too back in the fold.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah, it's like you met them 15 years ago. You might have like fallen out of touch, and then like 15 years later, now they're like right back in the game.
Yeah, we got a good squad over there. Really.
So it's just the 2 production facilities right now. Is there?
Yep. Basically, Jenkintown does all the Czech beer now because we got a direct fire mash mixer there.
Cool.
So you can get some direct fire for the decoction.
Did you have to do any alterations to the brew house there to like get it human robot ready from what it was?
No, I mean, because we were
Set
just
up?
basically making IPA there.
Okay.
That's what happened, like, when we bought it, because we were like, he could probably pull the decoction, but he just couldn't get, like, he couldn't get the burn on it that he wanted, basically. Like, the jackets didn't get hot enough or whatever.
So you added that after.
So we added direct
Okay.
fire mash mixer so we could literally just flame it.
Yeah.
And then, upped all the fermenters, doubled the fermenter capacity, doubled the brights. So basically all the Czech lagers being done there.
I have a question. I don't know if you know this. You mentioned the direct fire mash mixer. I don't know if you want to get into this, but I stepped away from the production side for like 4 months, and it's killing me that like I can't talk to them about production stuff. It's like I might just like go back to Victory, just like talk shop with people, but I always thought like the decoction. You're obviously putting the mash mixer, you're transferring it to the brew kettle, you're firing it, you're getting like the caramelization, all the other stuff, you're sending it back. But the direct fire on the mash mixer, why can't you just do your normal mash and then just fire it at the end? Is that what's happening? And then you cool it down, or
No, because it needs to be a smaller volume
to
get these reactions.
Okay.
Like, if you have a bigger volume of water, you're not going to be able to scorch it like you really kind of want to.
Gotcha. So you're just taking out, you just squish
It's
it
just
to
a
the
little
small part
bit,
and then
a
put
little
it back.
bit. Scorch it back. Scorch it back.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
So I guess it's a 3-vessel system. So you have like actual louder time. Because in Kensington, it's just the 2 vessels.
Correct.
That you're sending back and forth.
Yes. Well, no, yes. There's a whirlpool underneath. It's like a stack.
Gotcha. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
So I guess it's a 3-vessel. Again, like I can't get too tactical. I'm not the brewer.
Next time Andrew comes on, or when Andrew comes on, I'll be asking him all the questions.
Yes,
But-
exactly. I do want to point out that the very first time I met you and I told you to cool down the whirlpool at PBC, you told me that's homebrew shit and you can't do it. And we did it and we made okay beer. And then you did it for your beer there.
It wasn't homebrew shit.
Fair enough.
But homebrewers
and now
are-
every fucking brewery does
The
it, right?
homebrewers are the innovators. It wasn't. I 100% said that.
It was fabulous. I was like, yeah, I know it is, but we're going to do it.
I think, when I met you, I had been a cellarman for like 6 years.
Oh, yeah, and
And-
I'm just some shithead homebrewer coming in telling
yeah.
you what to do.
No, I was a cellarman. I had never brewed a beer until I was at Philadelphia Brewing. And then all the brewing experience I had was just from brewing school 4 or 5 years before that. And then home brewing.
And then you and Bill.
And then it wasn't until like I went back to Victory where I was just like actually doing brewing every day, where like I learned like the recipe development and actually like the brewing science behind it. But yes, when you told me that, I was just like, fuck this shit.
That was a fun time though. I think we all learned a lot during that situation.
No, it was good. It was good. It was fun to be part of. I still the launch event that you guys had at Philly Beer Week for the Futurist at Johnny Brenda's, and they had the robot man, whatever that the artist came on. That was just like he was dressed up like a, I don't know, like a cross-dressing robot person, and he was like, it It felt like I was on acid or something. It was like the most weird shit I've ever seen in my entire life. But it
I
was
forgot we even did that,
it was
man.
crazy.
That was crazy. That was one of the greatest parties, like, ever, you know?
Yeah.
And, like, I learned a lot, like, from doing that with Alex.
Yeah.
And, you know, that was
That's
great.
that's almost the opposite model though what you guys are doing at Human Robot now. That was straight up brewing,
Straight up
production,
kegs,
distribution model.
Yeah, but it was easy because we didn't have to sell it. Like, you know, Alex would do most of it because he had these bars that sold so much beer that we would just be like, you know, how do you like that, by the way?
I like it a lot. I mean, it's so I've never really had a beer to say beer tastes like cheese is kind of a weird thing to say, but like it does. It's interesting.
It's interesting, right?
Yeah.
But it's still like it's crushable.
It is.
Like,
it
you're
is.
not like, oh.
No, it's a clean beer with this like weird funk note to it.
Well, and that's what a lot of our beer is. It's like very expressive but clean.
Yeah.
Like I always want our beer to have some stank on it. You know, it's always got to be like this little bit of fart smell, sulfur, cheese, like always just a little something to
It's
keep
not fart
you.
smell. It's refined.
But that's like how I differentiate a lot. Like our lagers and other lagers is like it's got levels to this shit. You know what I mean? Whereas some other they're just very one note. So that's fermentation profile, decoction as well. Like there's very different things.
That you guys mean to put in there.
Yes,
it's like,
absolutely.
It's not just like it's there because like
No,
whatever.
it's
you
on
guys,
purpose.
Like,
It
got
smells like
fucked up.
farts on purpose.
As it, like the fancier things get, it's like almost like if they taste worse, but you meant to put it in there. It's like not that this tastes bad, it tastes amazing. But
No,
it's
I
like,
mean it's that
the-
level.
the
It's that
nuanced
very
precision.
fine line
Yeah.
that you want, like, and that's what makes it better.
Yeah.
That nuance. But it's such a fine line that it takes very serious experts to do it. Because you fuck around and like try and get sulfur in your beer and you don't know what you're doing. Like, cool, we got fart beer now.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Was that? I mean, Andrew's a great brewer, but he had been like brewing so long on that same system. Was it an adjustment when you guys went to Jenkintown?
Of course. But like at that point, like he kind of knew, like he's built so many
He knew the
breweries
levers to
too.
pull, yeah.
You know, he's not just a brewer, like he's an installer.
Yeah.
So he can really do anything. So yeah, I mean he's a fucking wizard, man. It's great.
Yeah, you guys lucked out.
But again, like there's so many good brewers stuck behind shitty marketing or shitty ownership or you know, it's just tough. Like
We can. This is something that I harp on all the time. Like the Philly beer scene, there's a lot of great people in Philly that like Philly beer. There's a lot of beer drinkers in Philadelphia. But you guys were one of the first people. I mean, Tired Hands was doing it, but it was like almost like this dark horse. You guys were really kick-started this Philly beer movement where like it wasn't just people in Philly drinking this beer. It became like putting Philly on like the national stage and was like, listen, like if we just do this the correct way and we stop doing marketing weird, we stopped like doing these weird beers and like
well,
these
everyone
ways to do it.
thought that Philly was this beer capital. And like, yes, we had great breweries. We had legacy breweries like, you know, your Yards, and like, you know, your legacy places like Monks and stuff like that. But like,
it was missing that brand. Like there was nobody, people outside of Philly. If you like, they're like, oh, Philadelphia is a good beer city. I'm like, all right, well, name
because we got great beer from other places.
Yeah, well,
That's what made us
exactly.
great back
They
then.
asked them like name some good breweries from there, and they'd be like Tired Hands.
Yeah,
And,
like first of all, that's not in Philly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, there
And then
wasn't any Philly proper. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't want to. There's a
there's
lot of
lo-
good. There's a lot of friends I have out
and
here.
there's larger brands that were like larger national brands, but as far as like, there's a big difference between like the people like Yards and Victory and people like you that were like these smaller boutique brands.
Yeah,
they're like very legitimate. Like you guys are staying small and staying local, and it was across the country. There was a lot of brands in a lot of other cities like that. In Philadelphia really didn't have that.
No. And like we've been lucky to have a guy like Kenny, like as crazy it is that he's 16, he's out there like
He's an
nuts.
animal.
But like he's in these streets, you know. There's other small breweries who are doing great beer, but like they just don't have a Kenny.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like and like I can't do that. I got little kids and the shit, like and he's just out there spritzing his like you know, it's awesome, man. Yeah, you gotta have.
Yeah, I want to have him on. He's like a force of nature.
He is. That is. I mean, you should see his schedule coming up for Festival Kenny Summer. It's gonna be a
He's
whirlwind.
a rock star. It's just like
it's
like
great.
tour dates.
You know, I yell. I'm like, you're spending too much on the road, but it's like it's all worth it. So whatever, dude. You want to do it? Oh no.
No, it really is. I mean, he goes out there. He's got like the fish socks on. He's just like super high, just so drunk, and just like everyone treats him like he's like their.
You should
fun
see what it's
uncle.
like when I go to a festival and people walk up and they're like, "Man, where's Kenny?" You know,
Such a letdown.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, sorry, I drove 1,000 miles to be here, piece of shit. You know, me and Ro are actually gonna get
Yeah,
chance to
they're
say
like,
not
you're-
Kenny.
yeah, they're like-
Also not Kenny. Yeah.
They're like your friends. They're looking for Kenny.
Yeah.
That's funny. So I get like you guys. I mean, you guys don't distribute, but you guys have this tour schedule essentially of going to these festivals. Like,
Yes,
how,
exactly.
How does that work? Like you guys plan out a year in advance, like.
We
all
don't
the
play
places,
shit.
But you guys have festivals that you guys are places that you guys know that you're here.
Yeah, it's just like who's our homies basically.
And you guys get beer to those places? Is that just like how you ship beer?
We sign like a 1 day with their distributor,
just send it
yeah,
down.
and send it out to them. It's not ideal, you know, because it's like
You're not making a
sending
ton of
one.
money like that,
No,
but it's just like it's
these
part
aren't
of the
these are
brand.
marketing. It's not
Yeah.
about money for that. And like, look, if we're being invited to a very prestigious thing, like, yeah, I want to be there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't want people to be like, look at all these great. Hey, where's Human Robot? Why aren't they here? And like, it's just because we couldn't get there. Like, we should be there.
But yeah, but you guys, your brand is small, and it's like you're not
Well, there's no
overextending yourself.
reason actually for us to be there because we can't even sell them beer.
exactly,
Yeah.
and you're not overstaying. You're focused on yourself and making sure like, your products are good. Like if you guys wanted to expand and sell 30,000 barrels next year, 40,000 barrels, you guys could very easily do that.
That is not what
But
we're here to
you're
do.
not there.
That is not
you're
what we're
taking care of what
doing.
you need to.
Yeah.
It's like
We wanna.
there's a reason like year after year after year, people are considering you guys number one. It's like if you guys were to expand, then it's like the
I
quality.
want to
goes
have a
up.
good work-life balance. I want my staff to be the highest paid staff,
Yeah.
the happiest staff. And so far, like we're getting there.
Yeah,
you
I mean,
know,
you see it. I mean, you go to your tap room. It's like there's different energy just in your tap room.
Yeah.
The different energy that the bartenders have. It's like they're there to kind of because everyone is.
well, it's
fully
also
behind the
great
brand.
for them because they don't have to deal with anything but pouring beer.
Yeah.
That's it. They don't make cocktails. They don't look at food. They don't do shit. They do plenty, but they don't have to do bullshit. They have to pour the beer, talk about the beer, be with the customer. That's it. That's it. And that's what it's
It's
about.
the important thing, and that's what the customer wants. So
Yeah.
It's like they're focused on the important
Yeah,
thing.
focus on the customer. And we've got a great staff. You know, it's been great.
I mean, all right. I needed to ask you about this. I mean, like obviously in the beer world, you guys are making scenes, but it's like beyond that. Like Jason Kelsey was
Yeah.
up there.
Yeah.
He wore a human robot hat on his podcast.
I am friends with this businessman,
Okay.
and his office is a block away.
Is his
So in the
business
off
manager-
season, you're going to be seeing him a lot more.
His business
Oh,
manager isn't
yeah.
Connor Barwin. I mean, he's there all the
No.
time too, right?
So
And he's like, now I didn't.
Connor lives 2 blocks away
Connor
from me, and our
Barwin
kids are friends.
is an animal defensive end. I didn't realize he went to Wharton. Like, what is?
Yeah,
is he the
right.
most?
They put him in there. So here's what's really going to blow your fucking mind.
Yeah.
Jason and Connor were college roommates.
Wait, I didn't know that.
They went to
Wow.
Cincinnati together and lived together. They were
I
roommates.
feel like I should have known that, but
Yeah. So like they're like tight. But Connor lives 2 blocks away. He was like a friend.
yeah.
We do a lot of work with his charity. So I became friends with Connor and his crew, and then Jason's business manager moved. He literally lives a block from here, and Jason obviously loves beer.
Yep. A little bit.
Yeah, right. So
Jason's like the Ken of the.
you're right, literally, right? It's pretty great, and like he's gone absolutely supernova. Like, it's just insane.
Yeah, what the Kelsey brothers hit whatever path you guys are on. The Kelsey brothers have hit a whole nother. They're on the Rainbow Road. And like,
Yo, it's crazy. They're like, it's just crazy. So, and he's just such a good guy too. Like when because he comes like, especially before the season started, he was coming in like every week basically.
Yeah.
They would have a Tuesday meeting, and they would come down after the meeting.
Yeah.
And like, it's not like he would like sit in the corner with his back to the door. Like, you open the door and you're like, fucking fucking Jason Kelsey. He's sitting there like, yeah, you know what I mean? This guy.
And if he wasn't Jason Kelsey, he would look like somebody that would be sitting at your bar.
Exactly. And a lot of times, like, people don't even, like, notice because he's just the other guy there slugging lagers, you know? So they've been great. That's been really cool. I think we have something coming up maybe soon between us.
Oh, yeah?
Ooh,
Did the whole, what's it called? What's their,
New Heights.
Yeah, no, not
not New Heights, their,
the underdog.
The Underdog.
Yeah, we're gonna.
Oh, yeah.
You got something possibly in the works with that.
he's very involved with the beer scene because I know that they did Keith Shore did whatever his like
The mug.
thing, the mug thing.
Yup. Well, I think I introduced them.
Oh yeah. Look at you.
Well, because Keith and Colin took over Memphis Tap Room,
Yeah.
which is Kenny's spot.
Yeah, I want
Which
to.
I was also, they were like, we want to open a brewery. I'm like,
Yeah.
just take over Memphis Tap Room. They're like, oh, all right.
I had no idea that he was from Philly. That's like a very.
Who, Keith?
Yeah.
Yeah. We didn't know each other until maybe 2 years ago. My wife has a shore house in Ventnor, and Keith at the time did too. And Colin was like, you need to meet Keith. And like, it was hilarious. Like, we literally met on the boardwalk on our bikes, and he pulls up, and he's like, Jake? I was like, yeah. And we like rode our bikes to Tony's Baltimore Grill, which, by the way,
Oh, I love Tony's.
well,
I have a place in Margate.
oh, do you?
Oh, yeah.
Nice. All right.
Tony's
So,
great.
oh, it's the best. And ever since then, like, me and Keith have been super, super tight. He's also he did baseball card, a lot of stuff, like with baseball cards. And I'm like, well, you just got me back into it.
Yeah.
So now, like, we do a bunch of fucking nerd shit with that.
Have you guys done anything with Meeting House? I know
We-
Carbon Copy just did an event with them.
Yeah, no, when we did I think we did the Von Trapp collab release there, but nothing else really. I mean, I just go there.
They
and
have
get
like a
us-
totally interesting business model. Like they're a brewery, but they're just acting them kind of as a bar.
Yeah, well,
Like,
again, like that was a discussion like I've had with those guys. They're like, oh, brewery and blah blah blah. And
they did the
looking at
opposite.
this,
They
we're getting
did,
this
they did
money.
actually the opposite of you guys. They did open up a restaurant.
yes, but it was, they didn't. Again, they just didn't want to go on this mountain of that. And it's like, how do we kind of just grow?
It makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Myself and them want more people to think of them like as a brewery. But it's tough.
I mean, they're real beer people. They're not people that are coming in. And
They're
just
real beer
saying that
people.
they're a brewery.
No.
These are very, very legit
No.
beer people that just
No.
happen to come at it at a different angle.
Exactly. And I love that place so much.
Yeah, the food is great.
Fucking love Guinness.
I do too. We talked about this a couple episodes ago. Guinness is making a huge comeback, and I don't know what it is. I mean, you guys just did the Baltimore Porter. Obviously, very different than Guinness, but dark beers are kind of coming back. But Guinness in itself, a lot of people that I know are drinking it, and like now I'm fully on the Guinness train.
I'm fucking obsessed.
It's with your
Yeah.
stomach and everything else. It
Yeah,
is-
my best friend, that's his thing. And then the Forged Irish Stout that just came out, it's trying to take a little bit of that. The Forged Irish Stout. Yeah. But it's trying to be the Guinness, you know?
No,
Like,
of course. I was so angry. I go to the IGA in Fishtown, and they took the 4 packs of Guinness out and put Forged Stout in there, and I was gonna like complain, like, are you joking right now? Like, are you kidding me? Like,
Have you
no.
had it yet?
No.
I mean, like, yes, you don't want to like have it, but like,
I'll try it.
Kinda-
I
kinda
will.
interested.
Of course, I am interested. I'll try it.
maybe
but
Guinness just makes it just like kind of.
You really could. Who knows?
I like wasn't that interested in Guinness, and then it was my buddy Alvin. Actually, we went to the Irish pub in
Yeah.
Atlantic City.
Yeah,
Have
yeah,
you
yeah.
been there? Like it is.
Yes.
That and Tony's Baltimore Grill are my 2 favorite bars in like the fucking world right now. But the Irish pub, like I had a Guinness, and I was like, what? And now it's just like I
mean,
drink
it's
this
lighter-
and
it's
that.
lighter than a light beer, like lighter than a
Great.
Bud Light, and it's
No carbonation.
no carbonation. It doesn't upset your stomach. You
Nothing.
drink 1,000 of
It's
them.
1,000. You're never hungover from
No.
it.
No.
Like the only problem is like you got to get up and piss all night. You know what I mean? But yeah, I'm like obsessed with it. So like, I was really excited when Colin and Keith like did the Meeting House because like, yeah, we're into this, guys.
Yeah, they have 4 beers and then just Guinness and Orval. Yeah.
They're 3 beers.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. So, I mean, what's next for Human Robot? I mean, you guys
Chill.
Chill. I mean, you guys have the 4 tap rooms. It's like you guys have kind of
That's
like
it.
expanded. and
All the
then just
beer
kinda
that we can
focus
make,
on
we
what
can
you're
sell ourselves. We'll get a couple more fermenters so we can do a little bit more distro. Like, I would like, we have a couple distributors in Westchester or Ambler that I would love to be able to just get 20 cases a month to,
Yeah.
just to be able to feed
Just
the
spread the love out
birds.
a little bit.
Yeah,
Just
I want to be able to
oversell
spread the love. I'm not totally against distro, because I want to be able to do that, and it's good marketing too, But I want to make it so it's not enough so our beer's not sitting there,
But you don't want to
It can
push
still
it.
be.
When you start to push it, it's just like
No,
kinda-
you still want it to be hypey.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You still want to be sought after. So it's basically just slow growth like that. Keep it contained, but we're kind of we're just chilling right now. Maybe a
Everything's-
production brewery shows up on the market in the next 2 or 3 years. I mean, it's a reckoning happening, and people think it happened last year. You ain't seen shit yet.
Yeah, I've heard.
You
Obviously.
ain't seen shit. This January, it's fucking brutal.
Yeah.
Brutal.
Yeah. Obviously I'm on the market now, putting myself out there, and so I'm kind of hearing some rumblings, and it's for me, it's very exciting.
Yeah. Or you can buy fucking tanks for free.
Yeah, you can
For
buy
free.
tanks for free.
You pay shipping, you can fucking have 'em. I'm not lying. We
Yeah.
were offered 2 20-barrel brights. Just get them the fuck out. That's
Wow.
it. That's all. We just need them gone. Because dude, it's crazy. Every brewer is for sale.
Yeah, I wanted to kind of do, open up this big fancy new brew house, and at this point, it's just I took a step back. I'm I don't know what I want, but I'm seeing kind of what you guys did and Carbon.
Tell you what
Coffee.
you
It's
don't
just,
want: $2 million in debt.
Exactly.
That's what you don't want. Because then you can't sleep at night.
Yeah, I mean,
and sleep is the key to life, brother.
You're just don't step in shit. You're just you don't want to get in a bad deal.
No.
The good deal is waiting out there.
It'll come up.
come.
Don't, and everyone's gonna try and force you into a bunch of bullshit because that's their job.
No, everyone is a shark at this
Of
point. Everyone's
course.
asking me for shit. I'm what do you want? I have nothing for you.
Yeah, you can't get blood from a stone, dog.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, so what? There's the whole beer industry. It's the whole beer industry is hurting, but it's it's almost it's cleaning out. It's
Exactly.
not gonna go
Well,
away.
there was so much uninhibited growth. Where just if you were a home brewer and you won an award at a homebrew competition, and then you opened a brewery and you succeeded because there wasn't enough competition and no one
There was
knew
enough
what they were
competition, and
doing.
You're talking about in 2020,
Even though
everyone was drinking as much as
Exactly.
the economy was dead. It's just but everyone's at home drinking on their couch. So there was a lot of places that opened up, and then they got the loans and they got overextended, and now that all that shit is due, Taxman's coming. It's all these people.
I mean, dude, we have very good margins and we barely get by.
Exactly.
Like,
and you guys,
how the
and you guys
fuck-
have talked all podcasts about how you guys are not overextending.
Yeah. How are these guys staring at mountains of debt, distributing all these kegs, making $5 a keg?
Yeah.
I
It doesn't make sense. I'm doing the
Doesn't.
math. I'm doing the math myself too. It's just I don't understand where people are gonna have to collapse at somewhere. The whole
it's
not
gonna
the whole
happen.
thing, but
It's gonna happen because people are gonna get tired of just investor money keeping them afloat. You know what I mean?
and that's from the brewery side. But from the consumer side, people aren't gonna stop drinking beer. People have been drinking beer 2,000 years.
Yeah.
That
ain't gonna stop.
The demand for beer is not gonna stop. So
It
it's
will not stop.
just industry's gonna clear out a little bit, and then everything will work itself out.
Yup.
All right, so now that we ended the brewery on a very high note, do you have anything you want to push for Human Robot? I mean, you guys have Logjam night coming up in a couple months.
Yeah,
Maybe
Logjam
before
is
that.
June 1st. We got the homie Terrell, your fave trash man. Are you familiar with him?
Yes, I'm a huge fan of him. Philadelphia has a lot of issues. In my mind, obviously, there's bigger issues than the trash, but there almost isn't. I feel if we just clean up the city, it would solve a lot of things.
really helpful.
It would be very, very helpful. And it's this guy's whole thing is just pick up trash. And
Yeah,
I'm
I
totally
just
for it.
love his positivity.
Yes. He goes live. He's just we're at the corner of here.
I love
We're
him.
picking up garbage.
He's just a good guy.
Yes.
And he's he's got connections, he's in the streets, and he's just a good guy to be like, all right, man, like, go out there, raise money for us. Let's get Michael Jackson Foundation aid as much as we can. So he's been a killer asset for us. We're actually doing a beer together.
Is he be involved with Log Jamming then?
Yeah, he's like kind of like heading like our like sponsorship like situation because like he's good at
that's
that.
what he does.
Like I can't do that.
Yeah.
I don't know how to ask people for money. Like that's not like what I do, and like he's great at it, and that's what you have to like realize in these all these things. Like the shit you're not good at, like let somebody who's good at it.
We had Meredith on, and she said that she was like helping you guys do everything. She's like, well, it makes sense. Like you know how to run a brewery, you know how to like throw a day festival, but it doesn't matter because you guys have all the connections. You guys can figure out the beer side, and she can figure out the logistics.
Like
of
I need you to have 30 people here during the festival, and then do all that, and she's great at that. But yeah, I mean, we're just trying to, you know, pump log jam and just get money because, like, dude, it's tough doing a beer festival these days. Like, even when like half the breweries donate beer and all this, that, and the other thing, like, you still like lose money. And like, we're trying to do it for charity, so like, we just have to come out of pocket and just give it, which I'm happy to do. But like, I want to give more. Like, we just give $5,000 because that's what we can give. I want to give them $50,000.
Yeah, and also it's interesting. Pennsylvania just passed a law that restaurants, if you have a liquor license, can essentially throw a beer fest.
Oh yeah.
They can throw like unlimited events. So it literally just passed like a couple weeks ago. So I don't know like what that is gonna mean for like the festival scene.
Interesting. Yeah, I wonder what.
Yo, I mean, I'll be honest. The festival scene seems to be also in a rut.
I mean, it's a rut, but like things like log jamming are changing that. It's like it's different than it's in a rut because there's a lot of shitty.
Exactly.
Yeah, log jamming is super personalized and super
Log jamming,
catered.
Second Street Fest.
Yeah.
It's like there's a couple.
Really hard to do too because like I got a lot of friends in the industry like, yo,
Yeah,
can I
just-
come to log jam? And I'm like,
And you have to say no to your friends.
yeah, I really
Not just
do.
random people.
Yeah, it sucks, and I want everyone to be there, but I'm like, I have to like, there has to be something here,
Yeah.
you know.
That's 9%.
9.3.
I like it. So that's your first time having that?
I've had it out of the tanks,
Okay.
but it's always so cold. So this is my first time like having it like at a regular. It's even a little warm, which I like it a little warm too.
And you were telling us this label has been sitting for 3
3
years.
So this whole style that's Jimmy Scantron is like, this is like kind of his whole...
Yeah, I mean, so this one is Hell is a town in Poland. Roller is Polish.
Okay.
Chris, our other partner, and so the Baltic Sea, Poland's part of it, and this town is surrounded by the Baltic Sea.
Gotcha.
So Jimmy loves nautical stuff and dogs, as you can see.
Does he have a wiener dog?
No, he has a lab, Tucker.
What is the reason for the wiener dog? Besides the fact that it's just funny and cool, was there any? He just put it on there, it worked, and then
Good looking dog.
it kind of looks like a milk tube.
Yeah.
The dog kind
It's a
of.
funny dog. And then we just bleed into that shit. I mean, we had no idea. We had an idea what we were doing, but we had no fucking idea what we
I
were
brought my friend to your place the other day, and they're like, it's called Human Robot. Like, why the fuck do they have a wiener dog? I'm like,
That's what does that have to do with
I
dogs?
don't know. It's just funny.
I don't know, man. That's provocative, you know?
Gets people
Go.
going.
But like again, like Jimmy was like, he fucking just emailed me out of the blue. He was making posters for City Winery. You know that place downtown? And I guess they fired him over the pandemic. And it's like, oh, I just want to make like labels for you guys. And the first thing I had him do, I was like, I want you to make me these like robot celebrity things. I'm still gonna use them because they're sweet. So I've got like a Steve Urkel where he's like half robot, half like Urkel. Like I've got what's her name, Tiffany Amber Thiessen, Saved by the Bell or whatever.
Yeah.
I've got her as a half a robot. We had Ricky Schroeder before he went on all the Trump shit. I was like, oh, I can't do the Ricky Schroeder anymore.
Is he
He's
already
so
gone?
was weird guy.
He's like converted
He had a
to somebody
Kano
else.
eye, like a Terminator eye. So we were gonna do that, and I was like, oh, I don't know, I don't like it. And he's like, let me do a lager label. And the first label he sent me was Check 10. I was like, dude, you fucking kidding me? I'm like, this is awesome. He's like, send me another one. And he sends me Howard Tao pills. I'm like, what the fuck? Dude? All right, cool, man. You're hired, you know? And it's been awesome. He's just the best because, like this, 2 minutes.
2 minutes is like
Not that this took anything to do, but for me to be like, yo, dude, I want the Pirelli label, but I wanted to say Pilsner, and I want this, and I want that. And he's like this? I'm like, fucking money.
And it's so clean.
Fucking money.
It's sick. That's sick. That's
yeah,
sick.
but you see that all over the place. It's
Yeah.
not just like you guys are like have a beer brand. Like people, you actually do see your merchandise out.
Yeah.
It's like if you go to the Seed in Atlantic City, it's
Yeah.
like half the people there have even robots.
Yeah.
And that's, I've always been into like shirts and stuff like that. Like that's all. Like design is my passion. You know, it's always been like a side kind of thing for me. And people always are like, "Did you start a brewery just to like sell shirts and glassware?" I do a little bit. You know, I'm having fun with it at least. So it's been a great thing to just be able to be creative like that.
Yeah.
And to have Jimmy that I can just feed ridiculous ideas.
Like you
to.
have an idea, but you can't put it on paper.
I can't do
Jimmy
shit.
can take that idea.
You know how bad I am? Like, you know, the circle logo? I could look at this, right, like that, and, like, I know it. I've done it for 4 years. Like,
Couldn't
this
draw
logo. I could not fucking draw it. I could not go like that, and you give me a piece of paper, I couldn't draw it. I couldn't do it. I don't know. I'm like, there's something that doesn't, so it's just good that I'm able to be like, Jimmy, here's what's in my head, here's what I need, and he can just
Go process
right
it.
away. Or it's also great when I'm just like, yo, we have this beer called Ritual Herbs, make a label, and he sends us back this. It's like, okay, that's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know what that is. But dope.
Yeah, it's I guess just part of the process. Like you guys are now 4 years into it, and like all these things that we've talked about all podcasts. Like,
Yeah,
they
it's-
just like falling kind of in line. Everything's
Just-
kind of working.
Yeah, it's luck and experience
I mean,
combined.
Yeah.
luck is like something that happens once. Like it's something that like you know you guys. Are
That's what everyone's
doing
like,
the
oh,
right
how many
thing.
of you are lucky? I'm like, we're not lucky for all these things, but like, there is
You
luck,
just have good
but
eye, and it's like it's just it.
Yeah, and you run
you're
with
making the right
something.
decisions.
You run with something when you see it worked well. When
and
you-
like, yeah, knowing when to continue these
Yeah.
things. It's tough though, man. Like, you know, like my wife works in corporate America, Comcast, and I can't even. It's wild, like hearing the
different
stories. Yeah, it's wild, dude.
You think this is crazy?
It's crazy. It's crazy. So, yeah, that's why we're gonna chill and kind of stay right.
I mean, chill, but you have so much room to grow without growing.
Sure. Yeah.
There's
Exactly.
so much you guys have like laid it out, and like there's still so much you guys can do in your footprint.
So we just very slowly, because you've seen what happens when people just go to supernova.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, it's a 50-barrel fucking Braucon, and I'll distribute all over the world. It's gonna be great. There's gonna be dogs all over the world, you know. Like, as soon as everyone can buy your shit, like now you're not cool,
Yeah.
you know. So
You're not cool, and you become less cool because you don't have control over the product.
yeah, and that's
It's
really,
just-
it's not about
just like-
coolness for us. It's like, I want to know where my beer is all the time.
Exactly.
I want to know that it's poured in a proper fucking glass.
Yeah.
Like anyone that we do sell beer
You
to,
don't
like
need
these
it
restaurants,
a
like
10-ounce water glass.
no, I mean this would be fine, but like, I want you to imagine me like going to Laser Wolf and being like, "What kind of glass you pour my beer in?" Like these guys are like, "Who the fuck are you?" You know what I mean? Like you don't get to like what? I'm like, well then you're not gonna get the beer. They're like, you know, Pizzeria Vidia. Like, fuck. I'm like, you're not pouring that in a shaker pint, are you? And they're like, no. Like, they can't believe that I'm like kind of, you know. I'm like, do you know who you're talking to? I don't care. And Joe would agree with me.
Yeah.
Well, there's a reason why they're where they are now too, because they're making the right decisions also.
Yes,
they're
but
not
like,
pouring it in
yo,
fucked up shaker glasses.
so imagine a Czech 10 given to you in a shaker pint out of a non-Luger faucet with no fucking head on
it's
it, and you
like,
got it,
bubbles all on the side.
Yeah.
Add pizza biddy,
and you would be like,
this?
this is shit.
Yeah.
The same fucking liquid.
Yeah.
Same fucking liquid. But the
Yep.
presentation is such a big fucking deal. And that's another thing that like we did, like, who in Philadelphia was doing like different glassware? It's
Yeah.
not like that fucking hard to think of. Like,
Yep.
oh, what?
Yeah, you easily have the coolest glassware throughout the city in the way that you present it.
It's all about the presentation. The liquid's going to taste different and better if I give it to you in this beautiful presentation.
Drink with your eyes first.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's something like we're not geniuses here. We're just
It was like common sense, but people just like weren't doing it. I remember, when we were talking, when you were with the Futurist, like even we were having the same conversation. Like something's fucked up. Like why is Philadelphia not doing this? And like you just kind of went out and made it happen, and it was just like everyone knew that no one was doing it right, but nobody was actually doing it.
I don't know what to say to that.
It's changed though. I think it's a lot of people saw you doing like it's almost like they saw you doing like, oh, you can actually do this. Like,
Yo,
and
but
they
still,
needed somebody. There is still a lot of fucked up stuff happening, but it's
still fucked up in the city. Like when Eric from Cohesion, he's the owner, head brewer of Cohesion. They're an only Czech lager brewery in Denver, Colorado. He came for log jamming and he sent some kegs out, and he said, "Who in Philadelphia can pour my beer properly off a Lucre box?" Fucking nobody.
I mean, what bars have Lucre faucets?
Standard Tap has one, which when Colin was working there, who Fiber has one, which they got
Where is
for
Kyber?
his
I
event.
know Kyber is like great bar, but where is that?
Second Street, Old City,
Okay.
next to like Brownies or whatever like
Gotcha.
that. So look at that. And frankly, it's ridiculous. I thought we were the best beer city in America.
Mm-hmm.
And like no one, I don't know.
It's almost like it has beer culture where it's like it's a blue collar city, but like it never embraced like this idea of the beer city.
It's just like we had all the best beer 15 years ago. Like we had Russian River, we're getting this, we're getting Cantillon, we're getting this, and we're doing it right. But just I don't know. Like it's stagnated. Like nothing else happened after that. Probably because it became more of like a hyper local brewery situation, and the bars, like. I don't know, like why would you go drink like a lager that was shipped from somewhere, or when you can or an IPA, then when you can get a week old one that you know is going to be banging and fresh, like poured properly by a real professional. It's just tough in the bar scene these days. But it would be nice if there was like a really proper beer.
So you heard it here. If you're
Every
a
bar
restaurateur,
owner and
bar
president
owner
are
now,
fucking hate me now. These are
they're
all my
gonna be
homies
like,
too. Right, this dickhead.
but I'm sure there's a lot of people asking for a human robot that you're saying no to, and it's just put a Lucre faucet in.
It's
and then
not so much
you got a
that
foot
though.
in the
Like
door.
they got to train their staff. That's the tough part.
Yeah.
No one trains their staff. It's just because there's so much turnover and.
Yeah, but the people that are doing it right, like the staff are actually making money and they're able to train their staff.
Well, yeah, we don't lose our staff. Like
Yeah.
all of our staff is from the beginning. Any ones that we've lost have been like basically put back in the brewery.
Yeah.
Or they've gotten out of the industry altogether. We don't.
It hasn't been like an escape. It's been like it was like a calculated move to like step up or something.
Exactly. So. Dude.
Nice. All right. Well, so I think our time is past, like way past. But do you have anything you want to plug? I mean, human robot on Instagram.
Sure. All the
social media.
Yeah. Human robot sued.
You guys don't have a TikTok, do you?
I won't put that shit on. Yeah, I don't know. Come to log jamming. There'll be more info on that soon.
All right, cool. And looking out for something with Jason Kelsey, hopefully soon.
Oktoberfest.
Oktoberfest. All right, we'll keep an eye out. All right, well that's it. You can follow us at the Brewdat Podcast and at Brewdat, and we'll see you guys next week.
Cool.